Hey everybody, what is going on? It is Aaron Trevino, and we have an awesome guest today. We have Bobbie Garza. He's a finance student at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. What's going on, Bobbie?
Hey, how's it going, Aaron? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, tell us a bit about yourself, Bobbie.
So, a little bit of background. Currently finance student at A&M Corpus. Prior to that, I served in the Navy overseas in Japan, and initially started as a mechanical engineering major, but I drifted off into the finance sector, and it caught my eye. Um, I'd say back in 16, I started looking into Forex, and that's where I kind of stumbled into finance, and it led me here to finance student. I got 2 semesters left, and hopefully with that, I'll be able to get into banking over at USAA or Navy Fed. That's the end route right now.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you're definitely looking into a lot of the numbers. We've had some pretty cool conversations in the past about what you think of the financial markets.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially with gold, and this pretty much the last 6 months have been quite interesting. Actually, I think around the time when oil kind of did that whole dipped into the negatives, that's when I started looking at gold and trying to see what they would do. Because I was looking at it from previous years, and gold was going to be on the rise. And sure enough, right now it's flirting with 2,000. So that's actually quite interesting.
Huh. So what do you make of that? What causes gold to rise or fall, and why is gold important compared to just a normal U.S. dollar currency?
For one thing I think it's rising right now is just speculation, and there's a lot going on um, in the financial world, financial news actually, with the speculation and why it's rising right now. One of the names I want to bring up is Judy Shelton. She's got nominated to the Fed Reserve Board, and she's actually a huge advocate for gold and actually bringing the U.S. dollar back to the gold standard. And there's a lot of like pros and cons to that, and we'll see what happens actually because they still got to run the vote through the Senate, and there's some people that are Republicans actually that aren't going to vote for that nomination.
Fair enough. So would you explain, what is the gold standard, and why is it important?
So basically, the gold standard is tying a your fiat currency, having it backed by a gold or silver, and it's important because it actually promotes economic growth and it helps maintain inflation, helps suppress the inflation. Excuse me, and it keeps the government in line. It keeps them from printing out more money than they should. So that's some of the pros I see of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So at what point in time, how like roughly how long did we have the gold standard? Um,
That's a good question. I know we got off of it in the 70s, and prior to that, I believe we've been running on it since. But we've been off of it for about 30, what is it, 40 years now? We got
okay.
off of it in the 70s. I don't know the exact year, but
Yeah, fair enough. So I know you kind of mentioned how you're basically having, a piece of gold that's, that's backing, or that the currency is backed by the gold, right?
yes.
So what do you think the kind of the pros and cons are between having the gold standard and not having it?
Well, I previously listed the pros as far as promoting economic growth, keeping the government from overinflating the dollar, and keeping that dollar strong. Some of the cons, haven't really thought too much into that, but one thing I want to touch up on is how it ties in with the cryptocurrency and how how the three of those can actually tie in together as far as having the gold standard backing the cash, the physical cash, and also the digital currency.
Yeah, I think crypto is something really interesting right now. It seems like it's getting a lot more press. over the past few years compared to before. I think I heard about crypto for the first time in college. I shrugged it off. I didn't really think much of it because I guess maybe it was in an infantile stage. But now it's starting to slowly develop and kind of catch people's attention. Um,
Definitely, yeah.
so could you kind of, just kind of break down what crypto is and, how it can play into someone's everyday life?
So basically, from like the simplest terms, crypto is just a digital digital currency. You can't hold it. You can only look at it through ones and zeros on your computer. Essentially, it's basically code. And there's plenty out there right now. I know last week, a couple of weeks ago, Elon Musk was tweeting about it's Dogecoin. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically, it's the meme coin. It's just has no use, but he tweeted about it, and I think it was on TikTok. Somebody mentioned it, and for a week, the price of it just rose. So it's right now, it's basically speculation. And the first crypto, Bitcoin, that one was pretty much what said it all, and it's basically using blockchain technology, basically having a ledger all digital instead of having it as based in a central bank. It's all digital. It doesn't belong to anybody. And just sending transactions from receiver to sender or sender to receiver. And right now, I believe the whole focus around it is speed and getting money from point A to point B as fast as possible.
Fair enough. It's kind of, I don't know, it seems like it's kind of hard for people to grasp. Like, for example, you take a US dollar, the US dollar is put into circulation by the Federal Reserve,
Mhm.
and then it's used not only around the country, but exchanged around the world. You want to trade oil. That's the US dollar, but um, it's kind of difficult for people to kind of envision you have this binary code that is crypto. I mean, what assigns crypto its value?
That's the thing right now. Um, there really is no value. It's just all speculation. It's all like back in 2017, the whole Bitcoin rise. It was just people jumping on the bandwagon. And I think that's where the future questions line up is what's going to give it that value and how is it going to be used? And it depends on the crypto itself because each crypto has a different use case. You have right now the top three Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Now they all do different things.
Yeah, fair enough. It just kind of seems like, people kind of get caught up on that. How do you
Mhm.
assign value from basically nothing? And you used a word there, speculation. What exactly do you think people are speculating? Like, what's the
Um,
goal of this?
I think what people are speculating right now is the central banks getting their piece of the pie on it. So people are trying to get in early. Like it's basically a digital gold rush. They're trying to get as much as they can as possible because somewhere down the line, major banks, major countries are going to be trading with each other using digital assets instead of, what we see today, which is fiat. And, utilizing that currency exchange and basically using digital currencies, eliminating that foreign exchange.
Fair enough. So when I know you kind of mentioned something about being able to kind of, make transition that much smoother, easier. But what makes, in terms of convenience and just being smooth, what makes a Bitcoin transfer or a crypto transfer different from just sending a wire transfer through a bank? Because it gets there either way, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think wire transfers, I think it would be like, I don't do much wire transfers, but I think it's like, what, 3 to 5 business days? Something like that,
Yeah.
depending on the amount. And then also, I believe they have a limit on the amount. And with crypto itself, you could send money from point A to point B within the matter of hours, sometimes even seconds, depending which blockchain you're using.
Yeah, you mentioned the last word you used was blockchain. It kind of seems like it's a word that's getting thrown around in a lot of different directions in a lot of different contexts. What does blockchain mean to you? How would you describe what blockchain is?
To me, it's kind of like the paper trail, but a digital paper. It's basically where they record every transaction and then making sure that they're authentic transactions. And from there, that's whenever the money is. That's where the money. That's pretty much the middle. So from the sender, the amount goes to the blockchain. They look at it, they authorize it, and then it gets sent to the sender. That's where these miners come in, these Bitcoin miners. They look at these transactions and they make sure that they're authentic, make sure that nobody's double dipping. And then from that point, that's when the money gets transferred over to the sender. Now, depending on whoever's running that software, it could take a matter of minutes or a matter of hours.
Okay. So just worst case scenario, let's say you have someone, kind of a big concern someone would say is that, they're not, it seems a bit shaky. They're not sure if it's legit. They don't know if the transaction will go smoothly. Let's assume that a fraudulent transaction, someone attempts to do that.
Mm-hmm.
How were they stopped from that happening?
I probably have to get back on you on that one. I know it just depends on how you're using your current your crypto. There's crypto exchanges such as Coinbase where everything's done. You could have it in an app on your phone. Are you talking about like unauthorized transactions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just generally just asking about, just the security of this. Because if I walk into, a retail store and I buy a T-shirt for $20, and I hand it there, there's no potential for, for fraudulence there because I'm physically giving a piece of cash to the cashier. Whereas with this, it's a digital medium, much like you could have maybe an issue on, with a PayPal scam or, someone on whatever online means,
Um, I mean, it'd probably be the same as far as using the way you buy things on Amazon. Sometimes they're charged twice, but that correction does get corrected. You can't use the same $20 to purchase one item on Amazon and then buy another item using that same $20 transaction. So
Sure.
I'd imagine it's about the same, digital transaction because nowadays, for me personally, I rarely carry cash. Everything's done either through a credit card or digitally. So, especially when shopping on Amazon or buying something through iTunes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yes, I know you mentioned how blockchain was kind of a big web or a big network. Um, one concern that people may have is, who owns blockchain? Is it a company? Is it a group of people? Or what makes the blockchain move efficiently?
so on that, I believe, depending on the blockchain, for example, the Bitcoin, that one's a public blockchain and it's decentralized. Now, that one, nobody really owns it. There's no origin of country that actually physically owns the blockchain. It's open to, public, how do you say it, coders that are able to hop in that blockchain, mine, and get paid through that blockchain versus a privatized blockchain. It's not open to the public. It's not open to these, how do you say, hackers, so to say. It's more stable.
Fair enough. So in theory, I mean, I'm just trying to visualize, what a blockchain would look like. I know you mentioned how you have, decentralized, compared to others, but I mean, theoretically, couldn't every country in the world have their own blockchain?
Yes, theoretically, yes. But to me, it kind of seems the same as having each country's central bank. They have their own central bank and they're able to manipulate their own currencies to have an advantage over trade. We're seeing that a lot with China, actually. They're able to manipulate their currency to get out of certain tariffs, so to say. You know, have the tariffs benefit them and hurt other countries' economies.
So in a sense, it almost seems like this would be, it's hard to visualize. Would crypto be the great equalizer? Would that mean that that you would have the stronger currencies being weakened so all currencies are nearly the same, or how would this look?
And from what I've seen, from my perspective, yes, basically bridging each currency together, not necessarily having one stronger than the other, just having that cryptocurrency bridging the two. As far as getting rid of that speculation of, oh well, what am I going to lose what am I going to lose in this money transfer through the exchange rate? Having taken rid of that worry, basically.
Sure. Yeah, it just seems like it would be difficult to kind of differentiate between if you had something like, the British pound versus the euro versus the US dollar. Um, we're obviously trading with that. It just kind of, it's hard to visualize seeing a lot of those more so equalized, but it can be through crypto.
Because let me ask you this: as far as one specific country's currency, which one do you think basically run is seen which one pops up everywhere?
US
So,
dollar.
yeah, exactly. And what would happen if the US dollar were to get weaker over the years and it's circulating throughout the globe?
Yeah, I mean,
You
then,
know,
yeah, of course.
the global economy is very dependent on the US dollar. And right now during the pandemic, we're seeing, what we're trying to prevent a global economic pandemic, basically. So that's why I feel it's important to look back at our options as far as going back to the gold standard. And on top of that, maybe tying it into a digital currency, tying the three all in together to make things run smoother.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you threw out a couple different names. You talked about Bitcoin. You talked about XRP. What are the differences between these different cryptocurrencies?
So XRP is, in my opinion, faster as far as sending money from point A to point B versus Bitcoin. I've sent Bitcoin transactions that have taken, say, 6 hours, and the Bitcoin fluctuation at that time, we're talking like $500 transaction, and then you're losing maybe $50 up or down. Now the XRP transaction, I've seen it go from 5 to 10 seconds. So the price fluctuation is very minimum. So you're not really losing out. And I feel like that's the big key factor when we're talking larger sums of money being sent from this part of the world to another part of the world. Those 5-10 seconds is a big difference between 30 minutes to 4 hours. It's a big chunk of change you're losing. I feel like that's the key factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for someone who's not even involved in crypto, they don't really know where to start. What's a decent place to start? And, how does this fit into, building a portfolio?
So where I started was, I think for U.S. residents, Coinbase is the leading exchange, and I have seen some rumors of Fidelity and other investment firms offering cryptocurrencies to add to the portfolios. Um, that being said, let me pull up the link. There's some news that dropped the other day that basically said that the OCC, let me see,
And what's the OCC?
they are the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. And July 22nd, they chartered banks and thrifts that they were able to provide custody services for crypto assets. So we're already seeing moves as far as letting bigger banks hold crypto assets for their customers. Now, this article is talking about larger accounts, but initially down the road, we're going to be able to see, personal banks having the option to have store crypto assets through their, you know, basically like online banking. So you could log into their online bank account. You'll see your cash account and you'll see your crypto account. And I feel like that's where we're heading to right now.
Absolutely. So what's the idea? Do you see crypto more as, at least kind of more of like an insurance policy, an emergency fund, or it's hard to see how this would visualize with your normal bank account and your portfolio?
Yeah, that actually is a good question. I feel like it's up to the independent person on how they want to use it. Using it for larger sums of money or using it on their daily transactions. Whatever is easier for them, honestly. It's all about convenience.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But but yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, some people have stocks, others like investing in real estate, others like um, having a lot of cash in the bank. A lot of people like having, their money, go to work for them by owning rental properties, whatever it may be. Um, I do think it's interesting to keep an eye out for crypto, being that it's gotten so much press.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
So
It's like, sorry about, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just thinking, what would this look long term, 20 to 50 years from now?
20 to 50 years from now,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you're able to make larger purchases, using your crypto. And I know one thing they're talking about is, well, it's already out, but they're using like these nano ledgers where you basically hold your hardware wallet and it looks like a USB thumb drive, and that's where your crypto is stored. That's for like the most secure way to store it. So I wouldn't be surprised, you could walk into a bank with your hardware wallet or have it in a safety deposit box wherever you want it and say, hey, I want to make this I want to buy this car. I want to buy, this house. And using that, your account is stored on that and use that to complete the transaction versus, you know, getting a, what do you call it? A teller's check to purchase a large, like a car. So I think that's 20 to 50 years from now. I see that. I see that very possible.
Yeah, I think probably I know I mentioned earlier about being in college and kind of hearing a bit about it, but I think the first time that really opened my eyes was I was looking on Facebook and something popped up in my feed and it showed that someone I think I want to say it was in Eastern Europe, they bought a house with Ethereum. So it's kind of, do you think that we'd be able to purchase homes and bigger assets like that with crypto?
Most definitely. I think further down the line, it won't be as rare. It'll be the norm. It's like, it's just technology is advancing. Look at the telephone and where we've progressed over the last 10, 20 years. You know, nowadays, everybody has a cell phone, a smartphone, and our smartphones are doing more today than a laptop was doing 20 years ago. So if technology is progressing at that rate, I feel like it's a better bet for our system of purchasing to advance as well.
Absolutely. So could you kind of roll it back a bit too? I know you mentioned you use the words about coding and Bitcoin mining, but what does mining mean to you?
To me, it's basically just you get a computer, you build up your computer, you build up the software, and you're just mining for Bitcoin. So the miners, what they do is they'll go to the blockchain their software will run through all these transactions and authenticate these transactions, and at the same time, in doing so, they're getting paid to complete that transaction in a fee, in a miner's fee. And that's how the coder or whoever set up that software on their system, that's how they collect Bitcoin, because it's on the Bitcoin blockchain. That's how they're doing it. That's how when you hear these miners, they're getting little bits of pieces of transactions as the small fee and collecting that. And they're having these computer softwares run 24/7. And it's not just one computer. Like, you have warehouses full of computers in some places like China. So that actually brings up a good question as far as climate, because these warehouses, it's putting a big strain on the environment. So when you're looking at a crypto, you want to also look at efficiency and what's better off for, the global scale. So that's kind of why I'm like leaning away from Bitcoin as well.
Fair enough. Great explanation. Yeah, Bobbie. So is there anything else you'd like to say that you haven't already said that you really want to hit home?
I would say just in the next year, maybe 5 years, we're going to see some big changes in as far as getting crypto out there, getting it more mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I was drinking a Pepsi the other day, and on the bottle cap it said Pepcoin, and you just type in the code on the website and you collect Pepsi points, but they're using their own blockchain as well. So I found that kind of interesting.
Wow. So that was kind of what you were talking about, decentralized versus a private company using their own blockchain.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to visualize what's the big incentive for a private company to use their own blockchain?
You're able to keep track of the transactions on there. So basically, for example, that Pepcoin, you won't be able to spend those coins and redeem them for cash, so to say, buy things off Amazon, but you'd be able to buy things within the company, shirts, more product, more Pepsi, stuff like that.
Sure.
And I've actually heard talk of, so video games are getting into it. So you'll be playing a video game and you come across a product throughout the game, and you could look at it, scan it, and purchase an item using a crypto and have it purchased in real life while you're playing the game. So I found that quite interesting. I forgot what video game it was, but it was pretty interesting to see that concept rolling out.
Wow.
Purchasing things while you're playing, in the middle of a game, it pops up. I think it was like an ad. I think it was like a Mountain Dew ad, or like a Mountain Dew container on the floor. You walk up to it, and it gives you the option to purchase, an order of Mountain Dew delivered to your home.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I mean, so do you think hypothetically you could see that even with TV? I mean, if we have some sort of interactive, TV or Netflix in the future or streaming service, and you click on it?
Most definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. I know, what do you call it? Some TV shows have like their own, how would you say, like those Stranger Things. I don't know if you watch it. They have like these 80s vibe, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if you're watching a show, right? And you see someone's outfit that they have on and you happen to like it, where it gives you the option to buy that outfit set up and delivered to your door. Like, that
Wow.
wouldn't be surprising at all.
How about that?
It's insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, take advantage of it or don't. I don't know. Technology is going to advance whether we like it or not. There's no going back. So
May as well get on board, huh?
yeah, ride the wave.
Make it part of your strategy. Ride the wave. Well, Bobbie, where else can we find you? Are you on social media, or where are you at?
I'm in Corpus Christi. I try to stay off the socials.
Okay.
I
Fair
keep
enough.
the socials personal. I don't really do much self-promoting. But yeah.
Okay, understood. Anything else you got, Bobbie?
That's about it. Go Astros.
Go Astros. We need the help.
We finally got baseball back, so
That's right. We sure did.
yep.
Well, Bobbie, it's been a great convo. Some really insightful. I frankly didn't know much about crypto, but you really broke it down in an easily digestible way, and really enjoyed that one. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was always good to talk to you.
Absolutely, Bob. Take care.
Yes, sir.